Alright guys, so I'm back. Wait, shit, sorry, hang on. That's much better. So what's up guys, it's Cuda here, or Kian, and welcome back to the channel. So, the last couple days, been a nightmare. Gonna tell you guys about it real quick before the story time. So, my PC decided to shit the bed, and now it's been having this problem for a couple months now, but I could usually, still use the PC for the most part. But then I tried fucking with it a little bit, because I wanted to fix it, because it wasn't running right, and it would always crash and black screen and shit. And I couldn't play certain games that I really wanted to play, even though my PC is more than capable of running these games. So yeah, I started fucking with it, and I kind of broke it even further. It wouldn't even boot to Windows, so I reinstalled Windows with my friend, and then the computer ran smooth for about 3 days, and this was last weekend. And then middle of this week, it just shit the bed completely, wouldn't even turn on. I tried fucking with it a little bit, but I just couldn't get it to work. So yeah, I took it to the PC guy, and 2 days later, he texted me, and he was like, the motherboard is shot. So yeah, the motherboard broke. I had a $450 motherboard, and it just decided to break. So I went to Best Buy today, I got a new motherboard, did a little heart transplant on the PC, got it up and running, and fingers crossed, should be working. With any luck, this should be the fix that makes my PC work again, so fingers crossed. But now on to the story time. Anyways, today's story time is an absolute fucking banger. I hope you guys enjoy this one, because I sure did. This is probably in my top 5 for story times ever. Do with that information as you will, but you know, this is a crazy story. This is about the time that 2 of my bosses got into a fist fight in the pizzeria that I worked at in college. So yeah, this story takes place in 2023. Specifically, it was the fall of 2023. I was in college at this time, just living life. At this point in time, I had an apartment that I was living at. It was really nice. I had a roommate. He was really chill, so I enjoyed it there. And with an apartment comes rent, so I need to get a job. Now at home back then, I worked at a pizzeria for a really long time, so it just made sense to get another job at a pizzeria up at the college town. So that's exactly what I did. I walked into a local pizzeria, I met the manager, he gave me a job on the spot. He was really chill, I enjoyed working there. But this story takes place during my 3rd shift. I was still learning to work here, and now obviously each pizzeria is different, but they're for the most part the same. Now with that being said, obviously I didn't know these people that I was working with. It was my 3rd shift. I was still meeting people. I was still working with new people each shift as I worked through the week and worked my new shifts. And so one important piece of the puzzle here is that the owners of the store actually lived in Florida, but during the summertime they would come home and manage the restaurant. Now they came up during the fall sometimes, and this was one of those times. So it all started off as a normal day. I got up early. I went to class in the morning because at this point I had a 9 a.m. class, and that was pretty ass, but it was only 2 days a week, so I got it over with for the day. And now of course this story revolves around my job, so of course I had to work this day. And so let's fast forward a couple hours because I didn't get into work until 4. So it's about 3:30, I'm getting ready for work, getting my shirt on. You know, they gave me a nice little pizzeria shirt so I didn't have to get any of my shirts dirty. And then I got in my car, I turned it on, I drove to work. Conveniently, my job was only 2 turns away, and it wasn't even these were long roads. It was literally half a mile down the road. So in literally 3 minutes I was there. So I pulled into the parking lot, I parked, I walked inside. I was greeted with a sight that I was not expecting. The 2 owners were there, and it was a husband and a wife, and then 3 managers were there, and it was their 2 sons and their daughter-in-law. And now the 2 sons I knew because the one son was the general manager of the store, and he's the one who hired me, and he was a cool dude. And the other son I didn't really know that well at that time, but I came to know him a little better as I worked there, and he ended up being a really cool dude as well. Now their parents, the owners of the store, I didn't know. I had never met them before. I didn't even know who they were at first. I had to introduce myself. So I walked in, and I walked up to them, and I'm like, hi, I'm Kian, nice to meet you. And they're like, hi, we're the owners, it's good to meet you. And now let's give the wife a name because she's the first of 2 main characters in this story. Let's just call her Cheryl. So me, Cheryl's husband, and Cheryl all had a conversation real quick, and then I quickly clocked in, I got to work. And now where I worked in this restaurant was up front. I was a fryer, and the fryers were conveniently located up front. I was mainly a wing guy, so I just dropped a bunch of wings, picked them up when they were done, sauced them up, put them in the container. It was a pretty easy job, but this place was super busy all the time for no reason because we were right next to the college. So when I walked in at 4, it was super busy for literally no reason. And so as I'm working away, one of the other managers who I hadn't met before comes over, and she's like, hi, I'm Cindy, it's good to meet you. I'm a manager here, and I'm also Kyle's wife. And now Kyle was the guy who hired me, and he was a really cool dude. So I was like, okay, that's chill. It's really good to meet you. How are you? And she was like, I'm good. It's good to meet you too. And we kind of just went our separate ways after that. And she went to work up front by the cash registers, and I went back to work at the fryers. And she seemed nice. She really did. But unfortunately, she's the second main character in this story time. So up to this point, it's a relatively normal shift. Everyone's just kind of working. It's kind of busy. So everyone's just kind of in their own little world, just trying to pump out orders and get things done. And then about an hour later, it kind of starts to slow down a little bit. So we have less orders. We have less things around the restaurant that need to be done. So under these conditions, everybody's a little more open to socializing. So as I'm getting one of the last orders out, I turned around and I saw Cindy and Cheryl bickering back and forth at each other. And now I couldn't hear what they were arguing about, but I knew that they were arguing because they kind of both looked angry. They had like that arguing look. I don't know, maybe that's just me. But anyways, like 30 seconds later, they start like really going at it, and they're like getting all up in each other's face, like yelling at each other. And now I could hear what they were arguing about. And when I tell you this shit was deep, this shit was like the Mariana Trench deep. Cheryl, who was Cindy's mother-in-law, was yelling at Cindy about how horrible of a wife she was and how she's ruined her son's life. And now I didn't know these people at this point, but I'll tell you what, one conversation, well, rather, one argument revealed a lot to me about who these people were. And now I'm not going to sit here and lie and say they were horrible people, because they weren't. They were actually great people, but they were not without their faults. You see, Cindy had 3 different baby daddies across 4 different children, and so Cheryl was kind of laying into her for that. And now, I get it. From Cheryl's point of view, it kind of looks bad, but there's a time and place for that conversation. Notice how I said conversation and not argument, because these problems can be fixed so civilly. And so Cindy's just sitting there taking it like a fucking champion, and she's like disproving everything that Cheryl is saying. Now, I'm not gonna lie, Cindy was winning this fight, but there became a point where she was not winning this fight, and then Kyle had to step in. And dude, I felt so bad for Kyle in this situation. He was literally being the negotiator in an argument between his wife and his mother. But bro must have been nice with it, because he actually calmed things down. Actually, calm things down is the wrong term. He diffused the situation for the most part. He got his mom to go back to work on the pizza unit, and he sent Cindy, his wife, back up front to work on the register. And I thought this was the part in the story where they make amends, they make peace, and they go back to work and they're friends again. But no, it's never that simple. As Cindy's walking away, Cheryl mumbles under her breath, moron. She says the word moron. Of course, just trying to get the last word, trying to be annoying. And Cindy must have misheard her, because she turned around and screamed, "What did you say about my mom?" And then started charging at Cheryl, screaming at her. And now again, I thought this was the part where she was just going to yell in her face a little bit, they were going to make amends, they were going to make peace, and that was going to be it. But no, Cindy runs up to Cheryl and punches her in the face. Like closed fist, right to the jaw, left hook. Just clocked Cheryl. And now I'm not gonna lie, Cheryl took it like a champ. She starts swinging back, and now there's a full-on fist fight in the back of the pizzeria. Mind you, there's customers in the pizzeria getting food. Meanwhile, the owner and her daughter-in-law going WWE on each other for literally no reason at all. And now I'm standing here with my boy in awe at what I am seeing. And there's literally nobody stopping them. Like, the sons are just watching them fight. The husband watching them fight. From the looks of it, this had been boiling for a long time. But obviously, after like a minute or a minute and a half of them fighting, the husband finally steps in. Kyle finally steps in. They both take their wives off of each other. And of course, they go right back to just yelling at each other. And Cheryl now is yelling, "Get the fuck out of my store. You're fired. You're done. Like, get the fuck out." And Cindy's yelling back at her like, "Oh, what are you gonna make me get a divorce now? What are you gonna take me away from my children?" And now I'm not gonna lie, this was pretty fucked up. But after like 5 minutes, Cindy finally agreed to go home. She finally left. Cheryl yelled at everyone to get back to work, because obviously she was in a bad mood. She just got beat up by her daughter-in-law. So that obviously sucks. So after that, it was a pretty awkward shift for the rest of the shift, but nothing crazy really happened for the rest of that day. So fast forward a day, I have work again. I go in, the owner's there. I said hello, trying not to be awkward, asked her how her day was going, and Cheryl just kind of looked at me and laughed and goes, "Well, a lot better than yesterday, I'll tell you that much." And then I just kind of like awkwardly laughed and walked away. And so I got to work, and about a half an hour into my shift, Cindy's car pulls into the parking lot. And I was like, oh boy, this is about to get real interesting real quick. And so out of the car pops Cindy. She walks up to the front door, opens it, the little bells on the door ring. Cheryl looks over, sees who it is, immediately gives her the death stare. And at this point, Cindy doesn't really look angry anymore. She just kind of looks calm, like weirdly calm. And so she walks behind the counter, she walks up to Cindy, and now I'm thinking she's gonna like sock her in the face again and just like prove her point that she's not wrong. But no, that's not what happened. She walks up to Cheryl and she goes, "I'm sorry." And I was like, what the fuck? You're sorry? What are you talking about? Because your boy kind of wanted to see another fight. That was pretty entertaining, I'm not gonna lie. But then Cindy goes on to say, "Kyle told me what you said. You didn't actually say anything about my mom. I'm sorry. I should not have hit you. That was really immature and really childish, and I apologize." And now I look at Cheryl at this point, and she is stunned, like completely stunned that Cindy just said this to her. And she's just like, well, yeah, I mean, I'm sorry too. I only hit you because you hit me, but like it's still wasn't mature, and I'm sorry. And she just like kind of was fabricating an apology. I kind of got the impression that she didn't really mean it that much, but Cindy bought it. They made up, they made amends, they made peace. Cindy left, there was no fight, there was no argument, and that was that. So yeah guys, that's the story. Moral of the story is, don't fist fight your family member in the middle of the pizzeria when there are customers present. It's generally not a very good look for your business, but hey, that could just be me. I could be wrong. What do I know? So anyways, if you guys did enjoy today's video, make sure to hit that like button. If you want to see more content just like this from me, hit that subscribe button. Helps a lot, pushes my videos to other people just like you. But with all that out of the way, thank you guys so much for watching. It's been real. I've been Cuda, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.